Disclaimer: 6 Inc. does not act as a securities dealer or advisor and is not registered to do so under applicable securities law. The accuracy of any statements made by individuals interviewed is not verified by 6 Inc. These individuals or the firms they represent are solely responsible for their statements. Nothing in this interview is a recommendation by 6 Inc. for any securities, nor is it investment advice or a substitute for professional investment advice. All investments in securities carry risks. Everyone's investment needs are different. Investors should obtain professional advice from a registered investment dealer, advisor, or other professional third party. For a full disclaimer, please refer to the description below or at www.6.com. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Six Report. I'm here with Tara Christie, President and CEO of Banyan Gold, to discuss the company's recent press release on its 2023 exploration program and the expansion to its technical team. So, Tara, welcome to the Six Report. And why don't you first tell me about the addition to your team? Who is this Brad Thrall, and why is he a good addition to the team?
Yeah, Brad, he's been working in the Yukon probably over 30 years, most recently with Alexco at their Keno Hill as the president, and, really helping to restart that historic mine as well as run their environmental consulting business, which they spun out, but also work on the historic liabilities that were there from mining, but, huge valuable experience from metallurgy to operations, building mines in the Yukon and permitting in the Yukon. All of that really valuable for Banyan. He's part-time because he's a pretty high caliber person, and he's going to help us in a staged manner, starting with some metallurgy, and then as we move forward, kind of understanding what our economics are. We're starting to get to that phase where we've got to start thinking about this as a development project, not just an exploration project. So, and it's great. I've worked with Brad before. He worked with Barrick over the years. He built the first heap leach mine in the Yukon, Brewery Creek, back in the 1980s. So, that's a pretty exciting addition for us.
Okay, thank you for that. That kind of leads into my second question, actually. So you're bringing him on as a technical advisor at this specific time. He's a busy man, but you're bringing him on at this time because of the network, the metallurgical stuff for now?
Yeah, really, that's where he's going to start. We're moving from the typical work that you do as a junior, which is pretty, wide spaced, really starting to get a much bigger picture of the metallurgy with different metallurgical domains, which we know we have. And different companies are going to look at this project differently. And as you go into your PEA, you want to have done your trade-off studies and kind of understand that. And, we're not quite there yet. There's a lot of work that you should do long before you say you're going to do a PEA. And we hope to do that. And then the other aspects of it, really helping to think about how you would do exploration towards a project where you're trying to define a resource which is mineable, opposed to just, an inferred resource is and even though it's pit constrained, really is still very exploration focused. It's not necessarily optimized from that development perspective, and it's a really different mindset. You have to start turning your mind from exploration to that, and it takes time to make sure you've got time to fill in where you need to drill and do the technical work that you need to do well in advance of that.
Perfect. That makes sense. So let's get into the 2023 exploration program. In the press release, it sounds like your team has identified an important lineament that is consistent with a change in the orientation of gold mineralization trends between the power line and the Oryx Hill resources. What the heck does that mean, and why is your team interested in exploring it further?
Well, so when you look at this area, all of these deposits are created by intrusion. So, we're in a metasedimentary package where that fluid has come up into and spread out. So some of these structures, so it's structurally controlled, meaning that, that fluid flow gets funneled through these structures. And so those are areas where you can find higher grade and also give you an idea of where the fluid's coming from. So, we spent a bunch of time over this winter looking at the geochemistry of our deposit and how it varies both laterally across the property and vertically through the property, because that kind of tells you heat flow directions and gives you an idea of what's going on. And then also looking at the structures from lineaments as well as what we've drilled. And again, it gives you the idea of where's that plumbing system, where's this mineralized coming from, where can we find some higher grade. So yes, we're drill testing that. Right now, we've got 2 drills going already. Our third one should be going any day now. We're planning a 25,000 meter program. We really want to front load the winter drilling because it's a lot cheaper and easier. You don't have to build roads. There's not that environmental damage. And some of these areas are really quite wet. So it's way more efficient to be doing it now. But, we're testing our normal north dipping holes, which have defined most of this resource, because then we intersect the veins that carry the mineralization. But we're also testing east and west, because sometimes you can miss structures, which are important controlling structures, as well as might have some of the higher grade stuff there. And so it's an exciting year for us. We're testing this model that we've developed with what this plumbing system is, and that'll give us a lot more information on how to target even better as we move through this year.
Perfect. And that follows up with my second question. So with the East Oryx Hill property or zone, you're looking at doing what exactly? Is that infill drilling, step out drilling, and how much of the drill program will be emphasized on that target?
So we haven't announced our full drill program yet, because we want to see what we get from some of these early results and the technical work that we're doing. But if you recall, last year we had that 2 kilometer step out from Oryx Hill. And we are going to go east of that, because I think that'll show that this deposit has even greater scale and potential to grow. We do know that we have mineralization over 5 kilometers with what we've drilled now. Between Oryx Hill and that 2 kilometer step out, that can be drilled at any time of the year. So we're not going to rush to drill that out right now in the wintertime when going further east is more critical, as well as drilling some of those other areas. And I think that'll really demonstrate that this is district scale. Remember, power line in 1 kilometer has 3 million ounces. And we've now have mineralization not fully drilled out that it could be an inferred resource, but over 5 kilometers. That's a very large mineralized area. The footprint's pretty unusual.
Perfect. Is there any other exploration targets or anything else about the program we haven't covered that you want to inform the listeners on?
I think we've got a huge database now, and that's going to really help us target much better this year. And the real asset we have is a prep lab right on site, which is going to reduce our turnaround time on assays and help us understand what's going on and get our grades even faster. We are planning our resource update for mid-year this year as we committed. But again, it's a stepping stone. We know this is a much larger deposit. And, we're going to add lots of value for shareholders. We're funded, and we're going to end the year with a very strong treasury as well.
Okay, great. And I'm not too familiar with the assay lab turnaround time. So with this upcoming resource update, is it safe to assume it's going to be everything up until this point? Obviously not the 2023 exploration drilling, but everything up until then?
Yeah, we drilled to December, and we put out all of our results a couple of weeks ago with the last of the 2022 results. So that will be the end for the resource update. And then subsequent updates in future would have the drilling that we do in 2023.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Tara. If you want to learn more about Banyan Gold, you can go to banyangold.com. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Kyle. Bye.